Hi, my name is Alan Court, owner of the Kiddywinkles Early Learning Centres in Auckland. There's been a lot of discussions lately on News Talk ZB and other radio stations about a child's social and emotional learning by the time they arrive at primary school. And there is a real shortfall. This is a concern for parents, and Kiddywinkles has also acknowledged that this is a concern. We have spent a lot of time developing a program that addresses a child's social and emotional learning. In fact, today I spent time talking with Drive Time News Talk ZB host Heather du Plessis-Allan on this very topic. We have some very exciting things coming in the next few weeks with our Climb to Confidence program.
Hi, I'm Heather du Plessis-Allan, and as a News Talk ZB host, I spend a lot of time talking with parents and teachers and specialists about how our kids are really doing. And one thing that keeps coming up is school readiness, not just whether kids know their letters and their numbers, but whether they're actually ready socially and emotionally. So recently on my drive show, I was speaking with psychologist Sarah Chatwin, and she talked about how many kids are arriving at school struggling with, really basic social skills, things like communicating clearly, managing big emotions, coping with frustration, even everyday independence. And that really stuck with me. I've got two little ones under 5. And like most parents, I want to know that my kids will feel confident, capable, and ready when they walk into that classroom for the first time. So then I heard about what Alan Court has been developing at his Kiddywinkles Early Learning Centres. Alan's created a program called Climb to Confidence, which focuses specifically on building social and emotional skills from infancy all the way through to school age. So let's have a chat to him. Alan Court, welcome to Building Kids for Greatness.
Thank you so much, Heather.
Right, I want to start with you at the beginning. Why did you feel like you needed to create Climb to Confidence in the first place?
Heather, we have children come to our centres from as young as 2 months old, so really, really young. But also we have a lot of children who may come for a very first time at 3 years old. So they've been living at home with grandmothers or grandparents or the parents, and they haven't been exposed to other children. So they have no social skills, or very few social skills. They don't know how to manage their frustrations. They don't know how to join play. They don't know how to ask for help. So our teachers do an amazing job, but there wasn't a clear and shared roadmap for how we intentionally grow confidence and social skills. So this is how it all started.
But shouldn't this already be happening?
In principle, yes, it should. And this is what really centres throughout New Zealand all say the same thing. They really want it to happen. But there's a difference between valuing social skills and having a clear, structured system to grow them. Now, Te Wharaki, which is, as you know, the curriculum in New Zealand, gives us the value and direction, which is brilliant. But what we are saying is, here is exactly what confidence looks like for 2, for 3, for 4-year-olds. And it turns good intentions into daily practice, which is what we're doing.
Yeah. So from what you're seeing, Alan, how prepared are children really when they arrive at school socially and emotionally?
Well, as you mentioned in your introduction, and what Sarah Chatwin had said on your show, is there's a lot of children who are not ready. And I've spoken to local principals of primary school and new entrants liaisons, and the comments are the same. The children are coming to school and they are not ready. They don't know how to even go to the bathroom. They don't know how to sit on a mat for a period of time. They don't know how to put their belongings away or play and understand other children. So this is why we're really focused on it, because I believe that it's missing in a lot of children at primary school. So if we can get social confidence right early, learning becomes much easier later.
So if I'm a mum or a dad and I'm listening right now with, let's say, a 4-year-old, what are the social skills I should be hoping that my child is developing?
Well, we've already had a program in place for a long time with our 4-year-olds, and we want to make sure that they're able to recognise and talk about their feelings. They wait their turn most of the time. They ask for help. They cope when things don't go their way. They are able to play cooperatively. So all these skills that we actually do on a daily basis with our 4-year-olds. So when they get to primary school, they're already a head start of a lot of children.
Yeah. Now, the ministry, I notice, is emphasising a lot more the social and the emotional learning through kōwhiti whakapai. How does
Yep.
climb to confidence then fit into that?
Well, kōwhiti whakapai actually puts a big focus, as you mentioned, on social and emotional learning, and that's exactly really what Climb to Confidence is doing. But it actually brings it together in practical ways. So instead of just saying social skills matter, we say, here's how we grow children at each age every day.
So then talk me through practically how the program works from babies through to 5-year-olds. How does that climb actually happen?
Well, we've done it really as a climbing of a mountain at different stages. So with our babies, it's not very much for a baby. It's really to make sure that they feel safe and connected. So we've called that level base camp. As the child moves to the 2-year-old, they go to a level that we have named ascent, and that's where toddlers learn to take turns. They follow one-step directions and name feelings. Then they move to, when they turn to 3, to our climb on the mountain called elevation. And the learning to follow group instructions to handle change, empathy and cooperation. And by the time they get to 4, which is the last part of the climb of the mountain, they're reaching the summit. And that's where children bring independence. They can solve problems, care for their own things. Now, the big thing, though, Heather, is that because this is a program that builds on these skills year by year, if a child goes from elevation, for example, which is 3 years, to summit, if they haven't achieved all the objectives on the elevation level, it's not a pass or a fail. It is something that goes with them to the next class, to our 4-year-old class, where the teachers can see how the child has developed, where they're at, because each child has their own little plan, and then they can know where to put their focus to get their child to the next level.
And so what early signs are you seeing since you introduced Climb to Confidence? And also, how are you going to measure its impact over time?
Well, we have really been running this Climb to Confidence program for many years with our 4-year-olds, and we get a lot of feedbacks from the primary schools to say how well our children are prepared for primary school and everything that comes with it. When we had such success with our 4-year-olds, this is where the Climb to Confidence program took on a new direction, I suppose, and that we started to decide to bring it down to 3-year-olds, 2-year-olds, and babies. So that's the early part, but the biggest thing for me is that we now have a clear system to track this properly over time. So whether it's 12 months, 2 years, or 3 years, we'll be able to actually measure how our children are doing and say, look, here's the difference that this is making. And the important thing really for us is we are building strong foundations for life. So it's actually life skills that we're starting at this early age.
Yeah, totally. How are parents involved in this, Alan? Because it can't just stop at the centre gate, can it?
Teachings that we have on a daily basis. These social skills, as I mentioned, are life skills. So we want our children to go home with these skills that they've learned, and the parents reinforce these skills. Vice versa, if they've learned skills at home, we talk with the parents to see how we can build on those skills as they come in through the centre. So it is a program where parents are involved. They can see visually in the classrooms how their child is doing. Each child has their own report card, if you like, as to how they're progressing. And it's a joint effort to make sure that we're building our children to actually succeed in primary school.
Yeah, sounds brilliant. Now, when your kids leave Kiddywinkles and then head to school,
Yeah.
what do you want them to carry with them because of the program?
Well, I want to make sure that children, when they go to primary school, they know that they're going with confidence, they've got resilience, they have their emotional skills, and when they have those, they can actually learn anything. And in some of the reports from primary schools and that we've heard is if a child does not have these basic skills, they're actually a long way back in the learning cycle, and it actually impacts on other children around them. So that's what Climb to Confidence is really all about, giving children that inner belief early in life.
Alan, I've really enjoyed having a chat to you about this. As a mum, I think this is exactly the sort of thing that you want to hear, that as well as the play-based learning, the kids are learning social skills that will last a lifetime for them. And what you're doing at Kiddywinkles with Climb to Confidence really feels quite reassuring for parents like me. And of course, you are absolutely right. It goes without saying, these years are so important, and it's great to see how passionate you are about getting them right for the young ones.
Yeah.
And I don't know about you, but I'd actually really love to do this in a year or so again and see how it's all going once this is properly up and running.
Would love to have that, Heather. Thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Alan.